to take a look at pages number 6 and page number 7 in the manual. And this is basically going to go over the tools that we'll be using. HPI did a really good job of supplying most of the tools that you are going to need for your build right in the kit. So we are pretty lucky for that. And those are all shown to you on page number 7. When you open up your first large bag of parts included in the kit, there's going to be a plastic bag labeled tools. Let's go ahead and open that up, and we're going to take a look at what's inside and also other tools that you might want to use during your build. We're going to go ahead and explore these one by one as we pull them out. This unit right here, which we'll go over how to properly use, is a bearing press, and that is used to put the bearings in where they belong. This little tool right here, located on the bottom here, is a nut pressing tool, and again we'll go over how to properly use that, and it's quite simple but very effective tool. Next thing we're going to pull out of our bag are some smaller Allen wrenches, as well as a T-wrench, which we'll use for things such as putting the nuts on the shocks and some of the shock towers and whatnot. You also have a 7mm wrench, which is used in several places during your build. And there seems to be another nut or two in there, and these are your smaller Allen wrenches that are included in this package. Let's move on. Next thing we're going to pull out is our wheel wrench. This is a multi-use wrench that we'll use in several places throughout the build, and it's got some very nice features built into it, and a very, very handy tool. As we take more stuff out here, we have our fluids bag, which we'll go over later, but it contains all the different various fluids and whatnot that we're going to need for the build. We'll explore this one later because we're doing tools right now. We're going to pull out our handy dandy spark plug wrench. It's a spark plug wrench on this side, and it's also got a Phillips head screwdriver on the other side. A couple more tools here. We have a larger black Allen wrench, which is a T-handle, which is a great tool. I find myself using it all the time. And then we also have the smaller silver one. Last but not least, located in our tool bag is our multi-wrench. Again, this very, very ingenious wrench, has lots of different purposes and uses, and one of the most popular tools that I keep on my bench for working on the Baja. I love it. So you're going to want to keep this handy, and you're going to use it quite often. So those are the tools that are contained in the Baja kit, and pretty much everything that you're going to need really is included in the kit here. The other thing that's in there is a ball press, which I neglected to show you, and that's inside this little bag here. Those are all the tools that are included in the tool bag. Now there are several other tools which are quite handy to have, and if you take a look over here, the manual is actually going to show you what you will need. One of the tools that we're going to use a lot is a pair of large pliers, and the adjustable jaw style is actually what we're going to need on this rather than a regular pair of pliers. If you don't have a set, you can probably get away with a regular pair of pliers, but these are going to be much more effective. The second thing that they're going to recommend is a set of Needlenose Pliers. This is a fairly small set. You can get away with this, or you can get a larger pair of Needlenose. Straight and or curved are going to be fine. There's several places that we use these, usually to put on C-clips. The next thing you're going to need is a regular screwdriver, and you can use, it doesn't have to be a big one actually, a fairly small one will probably do you a little bit better. This is one that I use on my bench. It's primarily, we use this for for tuning the engine. And a nice medium-sized unit will work really well. The next thing you're going to need is a pair of wire cutters. And again, nothing spectacular. It's just a pair of wire cutters. We don't use them that often, mainly for removing parts off of the trees. And let's see what else we have in here. You're going to need a hobby knife, and most of the time I prefer, instead of a little hobby knife, I use a box cutter blade, and it works really well for me. You can use a box cutter, and or like the directions show here, you can just use a regular X-Acto or a hobby knife, but for me this seems to handle real well, and that's what I like to use. As we move on, it is showing us that we should have a set of calipers. Calipers are handy and convenient, and I just use a fairly inexpensive set that I picked up, I believe, at Harbor Freight for $20, $25 on sale. However, it is not a necessary unit because the instructions will have exact one-to-one measurements on the places that we need to use this. However, it does come in handy. It's also showing that you're going to need some rubber cement. I'm not quite sure. I believe that must be for gluing foams. I have not used any in any of my builds, so that one will hold back. You're also going to need paint. Paint for your body. So I'm not a body painter, so do some research and decide what you're going to do with the body. When I do the tutorials, one of the questions that I get asked over and over and over again are what tools I use when I'm building. And I'm going to go over some of these. They're pretty straightforward tools, but you will find yourself using them if you have them. If you don't have them, then that's okay. They're not mandatory. The first thing is a good set of Allen wrenches. And the reason being is that the screws and the bolts and whatnot in this model are large. They're long, and you're going to have a lot of screwing to do. I've chosen a set. What's really important to me is that it has a swivel handle on it. This set is put out by Baja Skunk Works, and I've had it on my bench for many, many years. That way, as you're screwing in, you can just revolve your hand on it, and it makes it much more comfortable. You're going to need a set that has 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, and 4 millimeter. And the three of the largers, the 2.5, 3, and 4, are the ones that you're going to be using the most. For that, I've gone out and I use an electric screwdriver. You can use one. I happen to like the Bosch unit. It's lithium. It's very light. It works well for me. What you do want to make sure is that it has a clutch so that you can adjust the amount of torque so that you're not over-tightening the hardware when you put it in. It's also nice if it has reverse, which most of them do. Some people use a long straight one. Some people like these. A full-size drill, you can use that, but I'm going to suggest not because it gets very, very heavy. So if you can find a smaller, lighter unit, I think you'll be real happy with it, and it's going to save you a lot of time. And it's also going to save your forearms from getting all messed up. The bits that I use, boy, they're all after me today. The bits that I use with my drill are handmade. I've made them myself. And to do that, or actually they get put inside the screwdriver like so, and it just makes work go a lot faster. I made these from davesmotors.com is the only place I found this tool. He sells a Xenoa Star tool, and it contains the three most commonly used sizes on here, the 2.5, 3, and 4 millimeter. And what I've done from there is I have used a hacksaw and cut them off of the base that they're on. There's three of them, and they're in a star pattern around the base. I've cut that off, and I used a little grinder to make the groove in there so it holds in. And I use these all the time. They're the perfect length. Otherwise, you can buy different bits, but most of the ones that I found are short, and if you do find the long ones, sometimes the quality's not there. So that's what I use. The other tools that you'll see me using upon occasion is another set of drivers, and they're put out by WA, and you can go directly to their website and purchase them. This kit's all dirty because I was just at the track. However, what I do like about these is there are some places where you do need a ball end wrench. You don't necessarily have to have it, but again, a ball end is going to make your life much, much easier. So if you have a set of ball ends, doesn't matter what brand, you might want to go ahead and drag them out for the build. But this set, again, is put out by WA, and it's the set that I like. If you have an arbor press, you can use that for your bearings. It's not necessary. However, again, it's one of those tools that if you have, you'll probably end up using it. We might introduce a few more tools as we go through. However, at this point, that's your basic set. Really, besides the tools that you see on this side here, you're really not going to need anything else if you don't want to use anything that does not come with the kit. All the standard size Allen wrenches are there, and they're good quality, and they work real well. I hope that this sheds a little bit of light about the tools that you'll need to get together for your build, and go ahead and get them all set. Before we start building, let's take a quick look at the fluids that we have in our fluids bag. The first one is some 2-cycle oil, and we're going to use this to mix with our fuel before we start our new Baja up. Just be aware that there's not enough oil here to do a full gallon, so you may want to get a liter of gasoline before you measure out. The next thing we're going to take a look at are our 2 shock fluids. We have 5 weight for the rear and 40 weight for the front. We have some 1,000 weight diff fluid, and for most people, the 1,000 weight is the proper product to use. If you're going to be doing racing or a lot of sand driving, go to the forums, check out because there are options for your diff weight. Some air cleaner oil, and you're going to use that on your foam air cleaner element, and it helps keep the particulate matter out of your engine. Very important stuff. And then we have Loctite. We have a blue Loctite and a red Loctite, which we're going to use on the exhaust bolts, and the blue Loctite is for everywhere else. We are going to be using in our build the Team FastEddy Loctite. It's larger bottles, and so when you see us using this, this is what we are using for Loctite. Last but not least, I'm going to suggest you go out and buy some green slime. It's put out by Associated, bite my tongue, but it's incredible stuff, and we use it when we build the shocks. All right, let's put all this stuff away and start building.